Hello, everyone. Today I'll be exploring the 2005 movie Batman Begins through a Christian lens. I'll explain how the film's themes and character growth show the struggles and how it reflects the teachings of God and the symbolism. First, I want to talk about a specific scene.
When you lived among the criminals, did you start to pity them?
The first time I stole so that I wouldn't starve. Yes, I lost many assumptions about the simple nature of right and wrong. And when I traveled, I learned the fear before a crime and the thrill of success. But I never became one of them.
他不享受他的名字。
Fool, what the hell do I care what your name is? You're a criminal.
我不是犯人。
Tell that to the guy who owned these.
In this scene, we see Bruce living poor to understand others' pain. He is lost on this part of his journey. Starving, he commits one of the sins of God's commandments, which is thou shalt not steal. But we not only see Bruce steal, but share to a starving child. This reminds me of two verses in particular. Proverbs 6:30, which says, "Men do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. Still, if caught, he must pay 7 times as much as he must give up all the property of his house. But the one who commits adultery lacks sense. Whoever does so destroys himself. He will get a beating and dishonor, and his shame will not be removed." This verse is not saying that stealing is right, but it is understandable in times of trouble, when you were poor, and that a man who steals for hunger is committing a sin for self-preservation. But sins like adultery are out of lust and self-desires, not needs. The adulterer does not satisfy his soul, but destroy it. In Mark 12:31, it says for us to love our neighbor as ourselves. Bruce shows this example of compassion that this verse speaks of. Just as he treated himself with the food, so did he the child. So to further this, let's think of the story in the Bible where Shiphrah and Puah lied to the Pharaoh to save Hebrew babies from death. And God did not rejoice because they lied. He was pleased with the noble intentions they had. It shows that some laws and values go above others, like saving a life, which is a part of the commandment, "shall not murder." It was wrong to lie, but God is just in understanding that not everything is black and white. Some sins may be committed, or laws may be broken to uphold a higher virtue or law, like preserving a life, which is exactly what Bruce does.
I'm no executioner.
Your compassion is a weakness your enemies will not share.
That's why it's so important. It separates us from them.
You want to fight criminals. This man is a murderer.
This man should be tried.
By whom? Corrupt bureaucrats? Criminals mock society's laws. You know this better than most.
You cannot lead this man unless you are prepared to do what is necessary to defeat evil.
And where would I be leading these men?
Gotham. As Gotham's favored son, you will be ideally placed to strike at the heart of criminality.
How?
Gotham's time has come. Like Constantinople or Rome before it, the city has become a breeding ground for suffering and injustice. It is beyond saving and must be allowed to die. This is the most important function of the League of Shadows. It is one we performed for centuries. Gotham must be destroyed.
You can't believe in this.
Ra's al Ghul rescued us from the darkest corners of our own hearts. What he asks in return is the courage to do what is necessary.
I will go back to Gotham and I will fight men like this, but I will not become an executioner.
Bruce, please. For your own sake, there is no turning back.
I will tell him you said he's alive.
In this scene, Bruce is confronted with a conflicting choice you see earlier in the movie. Bruce was willing to kill Joe Chill, the man who murdered his parents. However, Joe Chill was killed by an unknown gunman. Bruce chooses, based on what Rachel said, to throw the gun away, and because his father would be ashamed of him. We can also infer because God would be ashamed of him too. So Bruce tosses the gun away and confronts Falcone, not to thank him for the murder of Joe Chill, but to prove someone will stand up to him. So Bruce is now faced with a decision in this scene. They tell him this is justice to murder this man, but we know from God's law that that is not the case, for taking a man's life is the most egregious sin in the whole world. Bruce is tempted almost like the devil is speaking to him. You can fall for his trick of making you think vengeance is justice, or you can follow God. Bruce finally chooses not to take this man's life. Like Bruce said, he is not an executioner. This man deserves a fair trial, as well as saying that he would be no better than this man if the punishment for the crime was to enact the same form of violence as the man they are convicting, as well as believing everyone can be redeemed and deserves a second chance. And that is shown in the Bible by Jesus saying in Matthew 18:21, "We forgive 70 times 7, which means we always offer forgiveness and a chance for change. So then the very men who were Bruce's allies become his enemies. But even after all of that, Bruce chooses to save Ra's al Ghul. So therefore Bruce is following after the Lord's will. In Matthew 5:44, it says, "Love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you." And that's exactly what Bruce does. Now, there is one more scene in this movie that you may call into question, where Bruce allows Ra's al Ghul to die. You could say that Bruce murdered the man, but I wouldn't. I would say that Bruce allowed God to enact what was inevitable to happen. He allowed the man's fate and destiny to happen. It was not Bruce's choice, it was God's choice. He allowed God to be in control. And that is one of the most Christian things that you can do.
Don't be afraid, Bruce. You are just an ordinary man in a cape. That's why you couldn't fight injustice, and that's why you can't stop this train. Who said anything about stopping it? You never learned to mind your surroundings. If you finally learn to do what is necessary, I won't kill you. But I don't have to save you.
This has been my Christian Batman review. I hope you enjoyed it.